Let the record reflect that the defendant is present along with counsel for the defendant, assistant state attorneys. Mr. Baez, you may proceed.
Yes, sir. We were informed of the next witness by the state, and we have a brief renewal of a motion that we'd like to get on the record before the jury comes in.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Fryer will be addressing that.
Ms. Fryer.
May it please the court?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Your Honor. Your Honor, the testimony of Mr. Byrne, we would like to renew our motion in limine, which would have precluded any testimony related to the shovel.
Okay.
We do this on several grounds, Your Honor. The first is that the testimony related to the shovel is simply not relevant, and there is substantial case law that says where there is an item of evidence that is not related to the charged offense, it's simply not relevant. This also creates a 403 issue as well. Additionally, Your Honor, in the order,
Yes, ma'am.
the reason for granting admission stated in the order was that the state contends that the defendant's actions are relevant to rebut her statements to law enforcement that she was conducting her own search for her daughter. We don't dispute that she was not conducting a search for her daughter. So at this point, this isn't material. So the shovel is not related nor tied to the offense. It's misleading. Your Honor, where shovels have been let in as evidence, there has been a direct connection to the charged crime. This is not the case here. Additionally, Your Honor, under Florida Statute 90.1042, the court is required, in cases tried by a jury, a court shall conduct proceedings to the maximum extent practicable in such a manner as to prevent inadmissible evidence from being suggested to the jury by any means. Absolutely. In cases tried by a jury, a court shall conduct proceedings to the maximum extent practicable in such a manner as to prevent inadmissible evidence from being suggested to the jury by any means. Based on that, we reassert our motion to preclude any mention of the shovel.
Thank you very much. Okay. State, any additional comments other than what you said before?
No, Your Honor. As you know, this issue has been argued in writing through pleadings. The court has made a ruling. We would stand by our position then, and it should be admissible.
Okay. The defense's renewed objection will be denied. The defense did indicate that they're not contesting that matter, but the case of Marie D. Arrington versus State, just because you're not contesting and willing to stipulate to a matter does not alleviate the state's duty and obligation to prove something. With that, anything else before we bring the jury back in?
Only that, Judge, I during the witness's testimony, I think to properly preserve it, I would have to object again, but I will just say objection, renewing our previous motion, if that's all right with the court.
That'll be fine, Mr. Baez.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Berner, where do you live?
Orlando, Florida.
Okay. Do you know George and Cindy Anthony?
I do.
How do you know them?
Neighbors.
Okay. When you say neighbors, where do they live in proximity to your home?
I guess to the one house to the south of me.
Okay. So they are your next door neighbors?
Correct.
When did you move into the home where you currently reside?
2005.
When you moved in, were the Anthonys already living there?
Yes.
You've met George Anthony?
Yes.
Cindy Anthony?
Yes.
When you first moved in, Casey Anthony was living there?
Yes.
How about Lee Anthony?
I don't recall of Lee. He may have been there. I'm not for sure.
Have you met Lee Anthony?
Yes.
All right. How would you describe your, for lack of a better term, relationship with the Anthonys?
Just cordial neighbors.
Were you friends with them?
Yeah, on brief occasions, just cordially.
Did you ever go over to their house for dinner?
No,
Did they ever come over to yours?
no,
So other than just briefly saying hello from time to time, would that be about the extent of it?
correct.
Do you work, sir?
Yes, I do.
What do you do?
I'm a truck driver,
How long have you been truck driving?
almost 24 years.
In your home, who lives with you?
My wife, 2 sons and a daughter,
How old are your sons?
21, 16, and my daughter's 10.
To your knowledge, are any of your children good friends or friends with either Lee Anthony or Casey Anthony?
No,
Directing your attention, sir, to the week around June 15th, 16th of 2008, were you still living in your home at that time?
yes,
Do you recall anything going on in your life around this time?
no,
Do you take a vacation?
I did,
Did you take a vacation in June of 2008?
yes.
When did you return home?
This evening of the 16th,
Were you scheduled to go back to work the following day?
no, I was not.
When were you scheduled to go back to work?
The following Monday, so I was off the entire week.
All right. So were you at home on June 17th?
Yes,
During the day on June 17th, did you have the occasion to see Casey Anthony?
I saw Casey's vehicle.
Okay. What can you tell the jury about what you saw?
It was backing into the garage.
What type of car are we talking about?
White Sunfire, I believe it is.
Have you actually seen Ms. Anthony drive that car before?
Yes,
Are you familiar with anybody else driving that car during this time period?
no,
When you saw the car backing into the driveway, were you inside your home or outside your home?
inside,
So I take it you saw her through a window?
correct.
All right. Did you leave your house at that point?
No,
Do you know whether or not the car was pulled back into the garage or just into the driveway?
into the garage,
How do you know that?
because I could see the front edge of the garage from our window. So I could tell that the vehicle went all the way in.
Did that seem in any way odd or strange to you?
No,
Have you seen this particular car being backed into the driveway before?
not until that first day.
Upon seeing the car going into the garage, did you leave your home to see what was going on?
No,
Do you know how long the car was there?
I do not.
So I take it by your answer that you have no recollection of the car leaving the house.
Correct.
Were you also at home on the 18th?
Yes.
What were you doing on the 18th?
Afternoon, was doing yard work outside.
Mowing, edging, that type of thing?
Correct.
Was anybody else outside with you?
No,
While you were doing your yard work on the 18th, did you see or happen to see the defendant, Casey Anthony?
she approached me later in the afternoon.
Do you have any idea about what time this was?
1:20, 1:30.
She approached you.
Correct.
And why did she approach you?
She said she wanted to borrow a shovel to dig up a bamboo root.
Can you bring up? Sir, can you see what's on a monitor there?
Yes.
All right. I'm showing you what's been marked for identification, AI. First of all, I ask you if you recognize the room that we're looking at.
Yes.
What is that?
That's my garage.
Also, contained within that picture, do you see a shovel?
I do.
Is that your shovel?
Yes.
Is that the shovel that you loaned to Casey Anthony?
Yes.
And is that a fair and accurate picture of your shovel?
Yes.
All right. Your Honor, at this time, the state would move what's been previously marked for identification AI into evidences, I believe, states number 4.
Note in previous,
Other than the previous motion.
note in previous objections, objection would be overruled and it would be received in evidence.
Just want to be clear that we would renew our previous motions and objections.
You,
I know I guess.
you lost me at the end.
I would strike all previous statements and say renew all previous motions.
Note in previous objections, they will be overruled and entered into evidence as,
Your Honor, at this time, may I publish the photo?
you may.
When Ms. Anthony first approached you regarding borrowing the shovel, where were you?
I was in the street blowing off grass clippings.
Did you see from where the defendant came from?
No,
Do you recall what she was wearing?
no, I do not.
Had she ever asked to borrow anything of yours before?
No,
Did you have any problem or issue with giving her a shovel?
no.
So what did you do upon her asking?
I walked around to the north side of my house to my shed and gave her the shovel.
She gave you an explanation as to why she wanted it.
Correct.
Did she give you any time frame of how long she would need it?
No.
Did she follow you to the shed?
Yes.
When you gave her the shovel, did you see where she went?
While we both walked back out to the front, and then she walked in through the garage.
You saw her walking into
Yes, the
the garage?
garage door was open,
Okay. Did you see her walking into her home?
only into the garage.
Only into the garage?
Yeah.
From there, where did you go?
I finished blowing off the grass clippings in the front.
All right. And after you finished that, where did you go?
I blew off grass clippings in the rear,
All right.
and then,
During this time, while you were finishing cleaning up, did you see the defendant?
no.
Upon finishing your chore, what did you do?
I put my equipment away in my shed and then walked around the front to see by chance if Casey was finished.
Okay.
And I walked probably halfway across the property on the sidewalk and could see the garage was open, and then I just went back in the house.
And when you went back inside your house, what did you do?
I told my son that Casey had borrowed a shovel and I needed to take a shower. So if she knocked on the door, you could accept the shovel from her.
I take it you took a shower.
Yes,
When you got out of the shower, did you have the occasion to see Caylee Anthony again?
no,
Okay. Did you get your shovel back?
I did.
How did that happen, if you know?
She had knocked on the door probably about an hour after I'd lent her the shovel.
And the shovel was returned to whom?
To me,
All right. You saw her.
yes,
Did you notice anything different about her?
no,
Was she wearing the same clothes?
I don't recall.
And what did you do with the shovel after that?
Opened the interior garage door from my house and set it in the garage.
Did you see the defendant leave that afternoon?
No,
Do you recall when she came to borrow the shovel initially and when you saw her walking into the garage, did you see her white car?
the car was there,
Where was the car?
backed in,
Backed in?
yes.
Was it in the garage or in the driveway?
No, in the garage.
Did you happen during that week to see the defendant's car again?
One other time.
Okay. When was that?
It was either the 19th or the 20th, I can't recall.
All right. What do you recall happening on that day? First of all, about what time are we talking about?
Early afternoon, maybe between noon and 3.
And I don't know if I asked you this, I'm sorry if I didn't. When she borrowed the shovel, do you have any idea about what time that was?
Around approximately 1:30.
I'm sorry, we're jumping ahead now to the next time that you saw at least her car. This was a day or two after.
Correct.
At approximately what time? I'm sorry.
Between noon and 3.
Again, where were you when you saw the car?
In the house on the couch.
Okay. Did you see the car pull into the driveway?
The car backed in at that time.
It backed in.
Yes.
Did you see anything else?
No.
Did you see who got out of the car?
No.
Do you know how long the car stayed there?
No.
Other than those 3 instances that you've talked about during this time period in June of 2008, did you have any contact with the defendant?
No.
Did you have any contact with George Anthony that you recall?
On one occasion.
Okay. That was during this week?
No, not during that week. That was in July.
You were, I guess at some point, made aware by police presence at the home, the Anthony home?
Yes.
When that occurred, did you go outside?
No.
Did you ever speak to George Anthony about
No.
everything that was going on outside the house?
No.
Or Cindy Anthony?
No.
When you saw the defendant on June 18th of 2008, did she tell you that her daughter was missing,
No.
kidnapped,
No.
that she was looking for her,
No.
that she needed any help?
Nope.
Did she tell you that anything was wrong with her daughter?
No.
Other than asking for the shovel, was there anything in her demeanor that suggested that she was upset,
No.
angry,
Nope.
sad,
Nope.
depressed,
No.
happy?
Just normal.
Just normal. Thank you. May I have a moment, Judge?
You may.
Was there ever a time that you saw the defendant's car, the white Pontiac, in the driveway or by the house with another car?
No.
Thank you, sir.
Cross-examination.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Good
Burr.
afternoon.
Now, you first gave a statement to law enforcement on July 17th, 2008.
Correct.
Right. It was right when the media began, correct? When
Yes.
the media began giving it attention. Now, just to backtrack a little bit, you saw police cars next door on the 16th,
I believe, yeah, 16th.
and then the 17th, immediately, you spoke with law enforcement and gave your statement.
No, I think it was 2 days after.
Do you recall that you gave a statement on July 17th or not?
It was a Thursday, was the day I gave my first statement.
If I showed you your statement, would that refresh your recollection as to
Yeah.
whether you did? May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Okay. I'm thinking of days and not dates.
Okay. Now, does that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
That's the day you spoke with them?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you spoke with them, you told them that you didn't know the date that Casey had borrowed the shovel from you, but you knew it was more or less the week of the 16th. Is that correct? I'm sorry?
Correct.
Okay. And then you were called into the sheriff's department on July 30th. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And you gave a second statement.
Yes.
You met with a Corporal Edwards.
Correct.
He's about 5'10", 5'11", white male, and very short buzz cut,
Sounds about right.
maybe 200 pounds, 190, right around there. Okay. And you then spoke with them a little while, correct?
Correct.
And that's when you started giving them dates, right?
Yes.
And do you recall, and I don't know if you do or not, but do you recall if Corporal Edwards asked you to close your eyes and try and think and see if you can remember, because this was important?
Yes.
Okay, he asked you to do that.
Yeah.
And do you remember Corporal Edwards telling you that based on his experience, as time passes, you start to remember things?
Yes.
Your memory, would you agree with that statement?
To an extent.
Okay. Your memory is just like everybody else's. It gets worse with time, not better,
Yes.
right? Now, after you closed your eyes and had this thought process of speaking with Corporal Edwards, that's when the dates became clear.
No.
That's when you told them the dates, right?
No.
You told them on that occasion.
Correct.
Okay. And you're saying as time passed, you were able to think about it, reflect, and look into to the actual dates as to whether that assisted you or not.
Correct.
Now, when Casey borrowed the shovel from you, you were inside your house?
Outside.
Okay, you were outside.
Yes.
And you talked about her car being backed in or anything like that. And Mr. George asked you if you had ever seen her car backed in.
That was the
Do you
first
recall
occasion. You're right.
Okay. Now, you don't watch as Casey's neighbor, you don't watch the comings and goings of Caylee Anthony, do you?
No.
So you wouldn't make it a habit to, whenever she came home, to see how she parked her car or anything like that?
No.
You're just the average neighbor?
Yeah.
Okay. And you wouldn't consider yourself a nosy neighbor or anything like that, would you?
No.
Okay. So you don't know how Caylee parks her car every day? You don't have a set? I'm
No.
sorry? Okay.
Correct.
And after she borrowed the shovel from you, this was in the middle of the day,
Correct.
in broad daylight.
Yes.
And when she gave you the shovel back, it wasn't muddy or anything like that.
No.
And she didn't look sweaty or anything like that, like she had just been digging a ditch or anything like that.
Not that I recall.
Okay. I'm sorry, I was...
Not that I recall.
Okay. Now, after she borrowed the shovel, you can't give us any information as to what she did when she went in her backyard, did you? Can
No.
you?
No.
So you don't know if she was trying to use that shovel to get into the shed?
Correct.
And are you aware as to whether the Anthonys have shovels of their own?
I am not aware.
Okay. So you've never seen whether they have 3 or 4 shovels or anything like that?
No.
And you can't offer any of us anything more than speculation as to what Caylee did with the shovel?
Correct.
Okay. Have no further questions. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Breyer.
Redirect?
You were asked some questions about an interview that you gave with Detective Edwards.
Yes.
Do you recall during that interview when he was asking you to close your eyes and picture the times and the events surrounding seeing the car pulling into the driveway?
Yes.
Do you recall telling him that you saw a pickup truck.
That's, yeah, I wasn't for sure of the vehicle.
Okay. What do you recall about that incident?
That was the incident where the Monday when the gas cans were supposedly taken, and I heard the voices, and I just looked out the window and saw Casey, and didn't think of nothing of it.
Now, was this the week of the 16th, or was this the following?
The following week,
All right. You saw Ms. Anthony.
yes,
Did you see anybody else?
there was a male, but I didn't recognize him.
Where did you see Ms. Anthony?
In the driveway,
Did you see them at any other place other than the driveway?
no,
Did you hear them speaking?
yes,
Could you hear the words that they were saying?
no,
But there was the defendant and a male.
correct,
When the instances that you told us about and that I asked you about and Mr. Baez asked you about the car backing into the driveway or into the garage, do you recall there being any other car in the driveway?
no,
Do you recall there being any other car in the garage?
no,
If we were to go outside of your home into your backyard, would we be able to see clearly into the Anthony's backyard?
no.
What is separating?
Privacy fence,
Is there any other tree cover or anything else that would block the view other than the fence?
no,
But the fence does block the view.
yes,
When you heard the defendant's voice along with the male's voice, did you see those people did you see the defendant leave the house
no,
or drive away, I should say?
no,
Do you have any idea how long they were there?
no,
Did you hear any noises while
no,
you were there? While they were there, I should say.
no.
May I have 1 second, Judge?
You may.
I'm sorry, sir, if I was unclear. When we were talking about Ms. Anthony being there along with a male voice, was the white car there?
I didn't see the car,
You didn't see the car?
no.
All right. Did you see any car in the driveway?
Just the vehicle that I don't recall what it was,
But it was not the defendant's white car.
correct.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, recross on those issues.
Mr. Berner, the incidents that we're talking about, you had no idea that you would have to later recall these things, correct?
Correct,
And in fact, when you started talking about them, it was over a month later after they occurred.
correct,
And it's pretty hard to look back and recall everything a month prior, is it not?
correct,
And no one told you on that day you should be looking for this car or that car or any car.
correct.
Now, the photograph that we saw, was that of your garage and your living room?
Yes,
Okay, so your garage faces the front of the street,
correct.
and can we get the photo back up? So the Anthony's house would be to the right of this shovel, is it not?
Is that the one you want?
Yes, it is.
I don't have a photo.
I'm sorry, you can't see it?
No,
Okay. Let me know when you can see it.
okay.
Okay.
What exhibit are we showing the witness?
I believe this is states number 4.
States number 4. Thank you.
So the Anthony's home is to the right of this door, is that correct?
No, it'd be straight through.
I'm sorry?
If you're looking out the front door, their home is to the left.
If you're looking out
The front door, well, this is the door to the garage.
correct.
Where
This
the
is
tile
garage
is,
door.
correct.
You want the jury to see this, Mr. Bass?
Yes, please. So if I were standing outside of your garage or right in front of your garage door, I would be looking direct? Straight?
Yes,
Okay. And the Anthony family home would be towards the right?
correct.
Okay. And that is your living room in front there, correct?
Correct.
And you could see the TV on there?
Yeah,
All right. And there's a window to, I presume, to the left?
to the right of this photo.
Oh, to the right, okay. And to the left as well?
No,
Okay. And now the date, if I can have just a moment, Judge. Now, the date that you heard the male voice, that was in the middle of the day, correct?
early afternoon,
One?
around 1.
Okay. And you didn't see the male?
No, I saw the male, but they were walking, so I saw Casey and then I saw the male for a split second.
And any time that you saw cars, you never saw anyone driving them, did you?
No,
In fact, even when you saw Casey's car backing in, you don't know who was driving.
correct.
And any time you saw Casey's car related to this case, you never saw who was driving, you just saw a car.
Correct.
This shovel was then turned into the FBI, was it not?
I believe so.
And on the 17th, after you made that statement to law enforcement, there were media trucks outside your home, were there not?
Yes,
How long were media trucks outside?
months.
Months?
Yeah,
Fair to say for at least 6 months, there were media trucks parked outside your home?
Excuse me, the state's going to object to the relevance beyond the scope of the redirect.
It's my last question, Judge, on this topic.
What's the relevancy and scope of redirect?
It relates to,
Sustain.
it would relate to this witness's knowledge of the facts, Judge.
Sustain.
Now, you had stated to Mr. George that Casey seemed normal.
correct.
What's normal, sir?
Just,
Objection, Your Honor, against beyond the scope of the redirect.
Scope of redirect?
I'll withdraw.
Okay, thank you. May the witness be excused.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
In the end of May, beginning of June 2008, did you have the occasion to meet Caylee Anthony?
Yes.
How did you first meet Caylee Anthony?
I met her through a friend at Fusion nightclub.
Now, we've heard a little bit about Fusion. What is your understanding of Fusion nightclub to be?
It was I believe, a sushi restaurant during the day, and then it opened up into a nightclub lounge at night.
When you met the defendant at Fusion, were you working at Fusion, or were you
No.
just a customer?
Just a customer.
How did you, do you know or do you remember who introduced you to Caylee Anthony?
I believe it was my friend Jenna Prentice at the time.
I'm sorry, Jenna?
Prentice?
And who is Jenna Prentice?
She was just a friend at the time.
Was she an employee at Fusion?
Not at that time.
Do you have any idea how Jenna Prentice knew Caylee Anthony?
No.
What do you recall, if anything, about first meeting Caylee Anthony?
She was happy, seemed like a nice person to be friends with.
Okay. Now, was this in May of 2008?
Yes.
All right. Did you notice anything about her demeanor, anything about her at all that struck you as odd or out of place?
No.
Other than saying hello and being introduced, did you have any other type of conversation with her at that time?
No.
Now, at some point, were you employed by Fusion?
Yes.
As what?
Shot girl.
I know it probably sounds self-explanatory, but what does a shot girl do?
At that time, the bar would give you a bottle of mixed alcohol, and you would have to go around and ask people if they wanted a shot, and they would pay for it.
Did you have to pay for this alcohol?
Yes, at the end of the night.
So you paid for the liquor, it was mixed, and then you sold it.
Yes.
How would you make money? How would you make money doing this?
Say you sold it for $3 a shot, whatever, they charged us $40 for the bottle. Whatever you made above and beyond the $40 you kept, you gave $40 to the owner of the restaurant club.
And the rest would be yours?
Yes.
Could you sell more than one bottle of liquor a night?
I guess you could, but it was hard to sell one.
Did you participate as a shot girl at Fusion?
Yes.
Did you participate as a shot girl at Fusion on more than one occasion?
Yes.
Directing your attention to June 20th of 2008, were you working as a shot girl?
No.
How about on June 13th of 2008?
No.
Okay. How about June 27th of 2008?
Yes.
On June 27th of 2008, you went to Fusion and you worked as a shot girl.
Yes.
When you did that, did you see Caylee Anthony?
Yes.
And what was your understanding, or what was your understanding of Ms. Anthony's role as it related to the shot girls?
Through one of the other girls, I understood that she was the one we would go to for questions.
Questions such as?
Where to be stationed, where to go to get the information. Since this was the first night, if you had any questions, you would go to her.
Did you have any questions for her?
Not that I can recall.
Did you attend Fusion on June 20th of 2008, not as a shot girl?
Yes.
All right. Do you recall a hot body contest?
Yes.
Okay. DQ. Do you see a photograph on your monitor?
Yes.
All right. Counsel? Showing you what's been marked for identification as BQ, do you recognize yourself in that photograph?
Yes.
You can take your finger and you can circle where you are.
No.
Do you recognize Caylee Anthony in that photo?
Yes.
Without drawing, can you tell me what is she wearing?
A blue dress.
You see what I'm circling there?
Yes.
You said that you were not working this night,
Correct.
right? But you were present.
Yes.
Did you speak with Caylee Anthony that night?
I'm sure I did.
Anything out of the ordinary that you recall from that, from those conversations or from speaking with her?
No.
Based upon your prior testimony, you had not yet worked as a shot girl at this establishment, is that correct?
Correct.
Is this picture a fair and accurate representation of what you look like on June 20th of 2008, as well as Caylee Anthony?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Does the picture appear to be a true and accurate picture of what you and Casey Anthony looked like on June 20th of 2008?
Yes,
Okay. And you recognize that establishment to be the Fusion nightclub?
yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would ask to move what's been previously marked for identification of BQ into evidence, state's number 5.
Mr. Bias?
Yes, sir. We would renew our objections under 403, 803, and 404.5.
Noted in previous objections, objection will be overruled. It will be entered in evidence, and you may publish it.
Thank you, sir. Did you participate in this contest in any way?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Any of the times that you saw the defendant at Fusion, did you ever notice anything about, anything wrong with her demeanor? That she was upset,
No,
or crying,
no,
or sad?
no.
Calls for an opinion.
It's an observation, Judge.
Overruled.
Thank you, sir. Now, you did work as a shop girl at Fusion.
Yes,
And would that be the following week after this?
yes.
Did you have any discussions with Casey Anthony about your role as a shop girl?
Just where to, there were certain areas that we had to attend to, and that was just pretty much all that we discussed.
Were you instructed or were you talked to about what to wear?
I don't know if it was by Casey. I know that the girls in general wore the same thing, and I was told through someone else what we were wearing.
And when you came to work as a shop girl on the next week, on the 27th of June, did Ms. Anthony more or less pass on what you were wearing? Did she?
Objection, relevance.
Overruled. Question calls for a yes or no answer.
Yes,
Did she give you any tips on what to wear?
not directly to me.
While you worked at Fusion, was there ever, as a shop girl, was there ever a problem that occurred while you were working?
Yes.
Can you tell us what happened?
One night there was a group, a large group of people, and somebody tried to grab one of the other shop girls and ended up scratching her stomach.
When that happened, was Ms. Anthony made aware of that?
Yes.
And what did she, if any, what did she do, if anything?
For our safety, she had us leave for the night.
Did you ever talk to her about this issue?
Yes.
When did you speak with her?
We spoke to her on July 15th.
You say "we." Was anybody else present?
Not with me. I know that there were 2 separate conversations.
But you spoke with her on July 15th.
Yes,
Was this conversation in person or over the phone?
over the phone.
Prior to having this phone conversation with her, were you aware that she had a daughter?
No,
Did you know at that time on July 15th whether or not she was in a relationship?
yes.
Okay. Who was she in a relationship with, to your knowledge?
Anthony Lazaro.
When you spoke with her on July 15th, did you learn that she had a child?
Yes.
How did that come about?
We had a conversation about what she would be doing that day. She had to run some errands at her job at Universal. And then she said she had to go pick up Caylee. And then that was when we established that she actually had a daughter.
Take a couple of things. Let's do first things first. She told you that she had to go to Universal.
Yes.
Prior to having this conversation with her on July 15th, were you aware that she purported to have a job at Universal?
No.
So this was the first time that you have learned that? You had learned that?
Yes.
Did she tell you what she did at Universal?
No.
And then she had to pick up she told you she had to pick up her daughter.
Yes.
Did she did she call her daughter by name?
No.
Did she tell you anything about her daughter?
Just that her birthday was the next month and that I was invited to her birthday party.
So she invited you to her daughter's birthday party the next month.
Yes.
Did you ever see Caylee Anthony outside of Fusion?
No.
And other than this one phone call on July 15th of 2008, did you have any other subsequent phone calls with her?
Not to my knowledge.
Did you ever receive a text message from the defendant?
Yes.
Do you remember when that was?
The one that I do remember was the day after that her mom had reported her to the cops, and it just asked for help looking for Caylee.
But you don't know who actually sent that text?
I do not.
Okay. I have 1 second, Judge.
You may.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Cross-examination?
The photograph that you saw, can we see BQ again? Sorry, good afternoon.
Hi.
Ms. Relander, pronouncing it correct?
Yes.
Ms. Relander, this day at Fusions, was there anything that happened that had anything to do with Caylee?
No.
No one saw her?
No.
No one mentioned her?
No.
There isn't anything that occurred from that night that has, as far as you can testify, to do with her death?
No.
Now, Mr. George had asked you about, Mr. George had asked you if Caylee was happy, asking your opinion on that. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Asking if she was sad, and your opinion on that.
She was not sad.
Okay. And in fact, the Caylee you knew was a nice person to you.
Yes.
She treated you with respect.
Yes.
She looked out for you and the other girls.
Yes.
And was she considered like a big sister to the girls or something like that?
Yes.
Explain that.
She always made sure that we were okay, that we were taken care of, and that we weren't in harm's way at all.
And that's because, as described by Mr. George in this incident, sometimes when people are drinking alcohol and they see a pretty girl, they may take liberties that they normally wouldn't do.
Yes.
And Caylee was somewhat of a protector to prevent something like that from happening to you guys.
Yes.
Now, I'll actually withdraw that. You don't know anything that happened on June 16, 2008 as it relates to Caylee, do you?
I do not.
And you have no information to help this jury decide or know what happened to her on June 16, 2008, do you?
I do not.
Or for any other date, for that matter?
No.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Redirect?
You were, based on some of the questions that Mr. Baez had asked you about when you saw her, when that picture was taken on June 20th, 2008, did she tell you her daughter was missing?
No.
Kidnapped?
No.
That she was looking for?
No.
That she needed help?
No.
Did she give any indication to you that anything was wrong with her daughter
No.
or with her?
No.
But you testified for Mr. Baez that she acted as a protector for you.
Yes.
Thank you.
May the witness be excused? Yes. Thank you, ma'am. You may be excused.
Thank you.
You may proceed, Mr. George.
Thank you very much, Judge. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Afternoon.
Ms. Gonzalez, how old are you?
I am 22.
Are you a little nervous?
Yes.
It's okay. Just go nice and slow. You'll get through it. Ms. Gonzalez, are you working?
Currently, no. I'm a full-time mom.
You're a full-time mom?
Yes.
When did you become a full-time mom?
In January.
Of this year?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you tell the jury a little bit about your education?
I graduated from Oviedo High School, and I'm currently enrolled at the University of Phoenix, pursuing education.
Were you living here in Central Florida back in the end of May, June, and into July of 2008?
Yes, sir.
Back then, what were you doing?
I was working at Fusion nightclub.
What were you doing at Fusion?
I was a shot girl.
Was that the only employment that you had?
I believe so. I don't recall.
As a shot girl, and we've already heard a description of what you do as a shot girl, was that a nightly occurrence, or was that just once a week, or how did that work?
It was once every Friday.
Once every Friday. Did you work as a shot girl at Fusion on every Friday in June of 2008?
I believe so.
So renewing our previous objections of 403, 803, and 404.5 for the record.
Okay. Objections noted. Objections over at this point. No problem.
During this time frame, directing you to June of 2008, while you were working as a shot girl, did you come into contact with a woman by the name of Caylee Anthony?
I did.
Was this at Fusion?
It was.
Prior to meeting or seeing her at Fusion, did you know her beforehand?
I did not.
How did you meet Caylee Anthony?
I met her actually through one of the girls that was working at the nightclub before I worked there.
Who would that be?
Jen Apprentice.
Do you have any specific recollection of first meeting Caylee Anthony?
Not really.
How about subsequent meetings? Did you have the opportunity to speak with her?
I did. We spoke while I was a shot girl. We spoke many times.
Do you know who Tony Lazaro is?
Yes.
Who is he?
He actually was her boyfriend, and he worked at the club that we did.
Did you have an understanding as to what role, if any, Caylee Anthony played in regards to the shot girls?
She was kind of like our manager.
She was a manager?
Yeah, she oversaw us, basically.
Okay. And by overseeing you, what does that mean?
Whenever we had a Friday night to go to, she would, we'd tell her what we were wearing, and if anything happened, she basically protected us.
I think this has been established by several prior witnesses already.
Response as to cumulative?
I don't believe it is, Judge. Every witness has added something new to the description of Ms. Anthony's
As to
position.
the previous questions, objection will be sustained. So after a brief introduction, move on to something different, but this is beginning to be cumulative.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Did Ms. Anthony ever tell you what to wear?
No.
Did she ever make suggestions on what you should wear?
No.
About the clothing.
Sustained.
Yes, sir. Did you ever speak with Caylee Anthony about things outside of Fusion? For instance, did she ever tell you that she had a job?
At Fusion, when we talked about going out, and she said that she had to get it squared away and make sure that she could go out with us.
That she had what?
To get it squared away, to make sure she could go out with us, like to dinner.
Okay. Did she tell you where she worked?
Islands of Adventure.
Did she tell you what she did at Islands of Adventure?
No.
From speaking with her, did you have an understanding or a belief as to where Caylee Anthony was living during this time period?
No.
Do you know a woman by the name of Jamie Relander?
I do.
Was there, to your knowledge, ever an incident involving Ms. Relander that you brought to Ms. Anthony's attention?
I don't recall.
Were you aware that Caylee Anthony had a child?
Yes.
How did you become aware of that?
We were in the bathroom at Fusion one day, and we were all taking pictures together, and she mentioned her daughter because the way she took care of us at Fusion, I guess she kind of like made an example.
She made it, I'm sorry, I'm having a little trouble hearing with the echo.
She made it like she was taking care of us, and she explained that she had a daughter, and that was basically it.
Did she make a connection between taking care of you guys and taking care of her daughter?
Yes.
Did she tell you anything about her daughter?
No.
Did she, for instance, did she tell you how old she was?
No.
Did she tell you her name?
No.
Did she tell you where she was?
No.
Did she tell you she was missing?
No.
Did she tell you she was kidnapped?
No.
Did she tell you that she was actively looking for her daughter?
No.
Did she say or indicate in any way that there was anything wrong with her daughter?
No.
Did she at any time ever indicate to you that there was anything going on or wrong with her?
No.
Did you ever see anything in Ms. Anthony's behavior every night that you worked at Fusion that would lead you to believe that anything was wrong?
Absolutely not.
How would you describe her demeanor when you saw her to the jury?
She was normal. I mean, she was like she was like us. You know, she had a great time. She was always happy. She always treated everyone with kindness.
Thank you very much.
Cross-examination?
May I have 1 second, Judge? I'm sorry.
Just a second.
Did you ever, I'm sorry, did you ever have a conversation with Ms. Anthony on the phone?
I did.
Do you recall when that was?
Not exactly when it was, no.
Do you recall what that conversation was about?
We were talking about meeting up to go to dinner with all the shot girls so we could talk about what had happened the week before.
Okay, what else did you talk about?
Basically, she was going to call me back and let me know when she could come so we can meet up. And she never called back. She did say that she was heading to the airport to pick someone up.
I'm sorry, she said what?
She was heading to the airport to pick someone up.
Did she say who?
No.
Did there come a time when you learned that Caylee Anthony's daughter was missing?
Yes.
When you heard that news, what did you do?
That I heard that night, actually, that the same night I talked to her. I texted her the next day telling her if she needed anything that I would be there and just to let me know. And I made flyers for my job.
Okay. And did you receive a response?
She did respond back saying thank you and that she was really worried about Caylee.
Did she give you an explanation as to the last time she saw Caylee?
She didn't say when she saw her last, but that she was with the nanny.
That she was with the nanny?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Cross-examination?
1 second, Judge. I'm sorry. I'll let you know. I'm having a little trouble hearing, so I apologize. Either I'm missing something or I'm thinking I'm hearing something I'm not, so I apologize. Going back to the phone conversation you had with her, did you have any understanding that there was anybody else in the car with her?
I don't recall, to be completely honest.
Do you recall what your phone number was at the time?
Yes.
May I have that?
I'm sorry?
May I have that?
The number?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, it's 321-439-1577.
Thank you. I'm done.
Mr. Byers, let's move on, folks. He's done.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Afternoon.
I just have a couple of quick questions for you. You stated that Casey was kind to you,
She was.
and she was nice to everyone,
Yes.
and she treated everyone with respect
Yes.
and was courteous,
Yes.
and in fact looked out for all of you girls.
She did.
And she mentioned or gave an example about her daughter when you guys were talking in the bathroom.
Yes.
And did you ever see Casey drink or get drunk?
No.
Do you have anything that can help this jury understand, or actually, let me rephrase that. Do you have any information, did you witness or see anything as to what may have happened to Caylee that you can tell this jury?
Beyond the scope, no predicate's been laid for it.
Overruled.
Calls for a conclusion.
Overruled.
As far as anything?
How she died?
No.
I have no further questions.
Okay, may the witness be excused.
For now, yes.
Thank you, ma'am.